time for announcements. And boy, do we have announcements today. My goodness.
Boy, do we have announcements today. My goodness. I should mention, first of all, that our good friend and what we call him, streaming guy, tech guy, Mike Yasko, is sick with the flu. So Katie Fitzgerald is sitting in for him. And, say hi to Katie and thank her for her kind work. And send Mike some warm thoughts and prayers so he recovers. He's a pretty tough guy, but, you know, getting the flu, oh, well, I hate that. Let's see. Oh, yes, and a special announcement. We were talking about this at the community night on Thursday. I'm going to put up a banner that says, "Leave Kathy Cox alone on Sunday." Okay? Kathy Cox is our temporary interim. She's our interim office administrator, and she's doing a great job. But I don't want you pestering her on Sunday when she's singing in the choir and when she's at worship. Okay? So please keep that in mind. If you want to pester her, send her a text or an email, you know, and she'll get to it on Monday. All right. That was a special announcement that we requested of several people. I want to remind you about auction donations. The donations form are on the sideboard there in the foyer, and they're also in the library. And donations are coming along very nicely. The theme, by the way, of the auction this year is "Sunshine on My Shoulder." And you may remember that famous song by John Denver, wasn't it? Yeah. Sunshine on my shoulder gives me sunburn. Sunshine on my face gives me a rash. You probably remember that. It's very popular. Made his reputation as a memory. Remember also that there is roundtable today after church in the sanctuary right here at 11:45. Roundtable will not be meeting on the 17th because that's St. Patrick's Day and they'll obviously be out celebrating. Okay, the top of the gallery continues with a show. This is the artwork of Carrie Greer and Karen Zeibert. And they're going to talk today after the service. So if you want to catch them and listen to what they do and what their technique is, it's very interesting. And it's a beautiful show, worth seeing. Remember that the crafters are meeting on the second Saturday of each month. And I assume what is the second Saturday? Is that this coming or was that last Saturday?
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. Okay, well, we won't talk about that. There is a multicultural awareness table in the breezeway. Be sure and stop by. These are books that the multicultural people have been reading, and it looks like a very interesting place. A brief note, Peace Village is coming to UUCLC this summer, and it relies on volunteers. So if you're interested in volunteering, contact Sandy Barbecue, and her email is listed in the inter-service there. And finally, please join us on the 17th after the Sunday service for the Social Justice Committee wants members and friends to select the 4 charities which will receive our Change for Change program. The offerings starting in the 1st of April. So that will be for the remaining 3 quarters of 2024 and the first quarter of 2025. All righty. And I think that's it. Catherine?
Good morning.
Good morning, Catherine.
And welcome. So good to see you all today. And good morning to those online as well. I'm Catherine Massey, Director of Music, and happy to be with you this morning. I was away last weekend. Kathy and James Caulfield and I were helping to host a Shake Note Singing Convention. And I've just about have my voice back from 2 full days of singing. We hosted 57 people from 8 states and Canada, and there's just nothing else like it. It's pretty amazing. So thank you for allowing me the time to do that. And of course, you were in capable hands with Rich Richards and Charlie and some of the choir members. We're so richly blessed here with music. Our gathering song is Vieni Spirito Creatore. It's in Italian. It's in the Teal Hymnal number 1049. And we will sing it all together twice. And then we'll sing it as a round. And guess what? You get to pick which part you want to sing. We'll sing it as a round twice, and then we'll just stop. So let's be seated for this one. This is a Taizé song. It's fairly meditative, and we'll begin the service with this sort of intention. Vieni Spirito Creatore, vieni, vieni, vieni Spirito Creatore, vieni, vieni, vieni Spirito
Good morning.
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Las Cruces. Good morning. It's good to be back here. Whether you're regular here or visiting us for the first time or viewing our service via streaming media, I hope you find some measure of enrichment and fulfillment here today. My name's Rich, and I'm one of today's tag team of service associates. There's a saying, it takes a community to raise a child. Community is also essential in organizing and running a UU service. So please allow me a brief moment to acknowledge those who are assisting today. Joining to me as co-service associates today are Charlie Scholes and Linda Hershala. Jerry Natchison was supposed to be here, but is feeling a little ill today, so we won't have his presence with us today. Catherine Massey is our music director, and she leads and is joined by the UUCLC choir. Our director of religious education is Kelly Ingram. On the tech side, we have Elvin Nunn on camera,
Claire Wallace working the soundboard, and Katie is working the interface for the YouTube people. Yay! And so thank you so much for that skillful help. Our chalice table today was prepared by Diane Lee and Jillian Lang. Many of you have already met today's greeters. We have Jamie Gibbard, Cindy Backman, and Susan West, assuming they're all here. Today, hospitality is membership. Membership committee is doing hospitality today, so after the service is concluded, walk down the foyer and there'll be some coffee and we can have some conversation. Each one of us is truly delighted to be here today. If you are visiting us today, we would like to meet you. So if you are in the sanctuary and are willing to do so, please raise your hand and I'll bring a microphone to you and you can introduce yourself for us. Stand up.
Let's all get a look at you.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Charles Cairns. I'm from San Diego and a member of the First Church congregation there. So I'm here in Las Cruces working with Habitat for Humanity.
Good morning. I'm Michael Brooks from Columbia, Missouri, and I'm here following Charles around with Habitat.
Any other guests here today? Okay, for those of you who have an interest in receiving some communications from the church, perhaps in joining us in activities in the future, please fill out a visitor's card. There's several in the lobby. And send us your email so we can invite you to other services and activities with the church. Unitarian Universalism has no creed or dogma. We are a covenant-based church, meaning that we agree to live in relationship with each other according to the Unitarian Universalist principles and our congregation's covenant of right relations. We embrace diversity in all its forms. Everyone is welcome. You can learn more about our church at our website, UUCLC.org. And please, as I said before, join us after the service. Walk down the foyer here for some coffee and conversation, inside or outside. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful day, just down the breezeway there.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, Rich. Here is a poem about seasonal transformation by one of my favorite Unitarian
Cummings. It's just spring when the world...
It's just spring when the
little
lame balloon man whistles far and wee. And Eddie and Bill come running for marbles and piracies, and it's spring when the world is puddle wonderful. The queer old balloon man whistles far and wee. And Betty and
Bill come dancing from hopscotch and jump rope, and it's spring, and the goat-footed balloon man whistles far and wee.
Good morning. Our chalice lighting today is by Beatrice Hitchcock. The flaming chalice is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism. It is an everlasting flame for this community. It offers its warmth to those who are cold. It provides light to those who would see. It purifies and transforms the sanctuary into a sacred space, this congregation into a sacred community. May its flame burn true and high and strong.
would you rise in body or spirit and join me as we say the covenant, and then we'll sing the doxology in English and Spanish.
Love is the doctrine of this church. The crest of truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community, to the end of covenant with one another.
And just as you sat down, I'm going to invite you to rise in body or spirit again. We're going to sing number 18 in the gray hymnal, What Wondrous Love. Most of us know the tune to this. We're going to sing, if you're using the hymnal, the second page. This actually comes from the shape note tradition, which Unitarians and Universalists were a part of. And that means that the tenors actually have the tune, and sopranos don't get to sing the tune, they get to sing harmony. So it'll sound a little bit different today, but we'll sing it together.
Our time for all ages today is a video. Are you ready?
What is it? What you say? Charlie, we don't have the video.
Oh!
I'm sorry.
I'm terribly sorry. Kelly had informed us that she couldn't be here today. Her grandfather died last week, and so she's taking care of the family. And she said, "I'll send you a video." And I said, "Fine." And I assumed she sent it to Mike, but All we got was the,
We have the cover, right?
and Mike has the flu, so, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, our next event, you can change slides, there we go, is the Stones and Water Ceremony. And in lieu of Jerry Notchson being here, Rich Richards has volunteered to do it. Rich?
One of the ways we express our care for one another is through the sharing of joys and sorrows. Another way we do this is through our stone and water ceremony. We have all the basic elements for life gathered here in our sanctuary. Spirit is above us. We have our Zia, and you may find that your individual path is represented by one of the stained glass panels here on the side. The rocks represent the earth as stability and foundation. Water is essential for hydration and cleansing. Air is all around us, full of life-giving oxygen and a breeze to clear away cloudy thoughts. Fire in our chalice, providing a guiding light and the warmth of community. So please come forward, pick up the stone, drop it in the water vessel, and silently say to yourselves the joy, sorrow, or concern that you feel. I'm going to drop one last stone into the water for any thoughts or concerns that may have gone unexpressed this morning.
that's hard to follow.
When we were,
The theme for March in Soul Matters, which is a curriculum that we follow at our church, is transformation. At our February planning meeting, the members of the Sunday Service Committee were tossing around ideas for the 3 March services that we would host. And as we were talking, it occurred to us that all of us had had some personal transformative experiences that we could share with the congregation. And that's how this service came to be. In the next few minutes, Rich Richards and Linda Ruscialo will talk about their experiences. But before they do that, I'd like to share mine with you.
when I started thinking about
personal transformation, a dozen incidents came to mind. Some of them were moments, excuse me, that have probably happened to you, like the first time you fell in love, or when you suddenly realized that the world was a very beautiful place, or perhaps it was walking out of a great movie and you saw everything completely different. For me, these personal transformations have included things as obscure as building an engine for a racing car that not only ran well, but it ran fast. Seeing modern art for the first time in an art institute, and I was blown away. And I created a winning state election campaign for a friend of mine in Iowa. That was a wonderful experience. I grew up thinking of myself as an outsider. I was always looking for acceptance and trying to fit in, and I wasn't very good at it. Actually, people used to tell me that I was weird. And they still do that. And that I was different, and that I was an impractical dreamer. Now, I am a visionary, I admit that. I see the possibilities in situations along with the negatives. And sometimes my ideas appear to be wishful thinking. However, I blunder along, believing that others will be convinced of my vision in time, and sometimes that happens. And other times, well, let me tell you this story. It was in 1980. Nancy and I were living in Iowa, and my parents came to visit us for the weekend. And on Sunday morning, they took our boys with them to an evangelical church. I don't remember the denomination. But the following Monday, those people from that church showed up on our doorstep, and they wanted to tell us about their church, and they wanted us to come to services with the boys, of course.
It was at that time I wished I had one of those magic doormats where you press the button and the people fall into the I worked on that for years and never could do it. But I was polite, and I told them that they were not interested. Thank you. However, Nancy and I had talked about the kids getting some religious instruction and something that would be good for them. We knew a few members of the Unitarian Universalist Society of Blackhawk County, as it was called then. And so we decided it might be a good idea to take them there. And as I've probably said many times, we went there for the kids, but we stayed for us. And that's because it was a place where I found unconditional acceptance. I walked in and I felt at home. The congregation accepted me for who I was. They didn't think I was weird, impractical, or any of those things. They just said, welcome. Within a year I was on the Sunday Service Committee, and the next year they elected me to the board. That was a great personal transformation. So I can tell you that I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for a bunch of loving, caring, accepting Unitarian Universalists back in Cedar Falls, Iowa in 1985. Hi.
My name is Rich Richens, and I've actually been around here a long time. For you old-timers, I've been around here 20-ish years, but for those of you who are new, you may not have seen much of me in the last couple of years. Sometimes I tend to go off wandering, looking for greener grass, but something always brings me back here. And this room in particular holds really special meaning for me, and that's a little bit of what I want to share with you today.
I'm going to go back to the year.
So I'm going to go back to the year, I think it was 2006. I had joined this church's first welcoming congregation study group. I had actually asked to join that group because I was one of the teachers in the high school RE program here. And I really had a really poor feel for LGBTQ issues. And I thought maybe that would be a place I could get some more information. And I ended up getting a whole lot more than that. So truth be told, back in 2006, I was a bit of a closet homophobe. I wasn't one of those flaming haters that you see on reactionary talk shows, but neither was I an ally. I just didn't understand.
To their feelings or their way of life. They just seemed as uncomfortably
formed to me as did girls when I was in the 6th grade. I didn't realize it, but I had. I bought into a lifetime of negative and damaging anti-gay rhetoric. And at the time, I really saw very little reason to change that. So that all changed one evening here in this very room. And so the members of the study group, myself included, were paired up with members of the community that evening to try to have some meaningful dialogue. We got to ask questions, they got to answer them. It was actually really a good connection. One individual that I spent quite a bit of time with shared with me about a middle school experience of really wanting to get closer to another individual in their class. Closer, especially closer. This is a pretty common scenario among young hormonal teens. And I found myself really relating to this individual's story. Now, in this case, the classmate was same sex, and yet to me, that somehow didn't matter. I really listened to those expressed feelings: primal, cautious, desirous, hopeful, awkward, frustrated, abandoned, embarrassed. And that experience, it really touched me. It came to realize their feelings were no different than my feelings. They were no different from me. I could completely understand and empathize with these people, with now my people. Where a moment earlier I'd seen two people who were so different from each other, I now saw two people sharing the same story. That person sharing the story with me not only could have been me, it was me. And in that transformative instant, we became more similar than different in my eyes. So transformation, it was a transforming experience for me, and it was in an instant. It really was just in an instant. There was no learning something new. There was no unlearning something old. There was nothing rational or reasonable or even emotional about this. It was not that type of endeavor. It was more of just a change in the way that I perceived things. And just a change in my perspective. Now, with that change in perspective, you might think that, oh my God, I'd sit back and look at the things I had done in my life, some of the things I'd said, and in one particular case, something I had done, and felt just terrible about it, but that was not the case. There was no beating myself up at all. I came to realize that I had moved in a direction of universal love, agape love. Some might even say closer to God. And there's no need, and it makes zero sense, to me at least, given that type of positive movement, to have any sort of feelings of guilt or remorse. Instead, what I felt was absolution. A joy, because I was free. I was freed from forces that had previously dominated my thinking. A door had opened, and I embraced the world that it led to. I remained active in our welcoming congregation committee for years, and I participated in all sorts of local LGBTQ meetings, marches, festivals. Now, I have and always will carry around some old baggage. However, while that kind of old baggage, I used to buy into that and have negative feelings that would sort of build on themselves based on these old stereotypical thoughts. But now I find those thoughts to be somewhat humorous or inane, entertaining at least. It's a little bit like watching Fox News in that respect. Definitely a few regrets, but mostly I'm just amazed. I'm amazed at the change in my personal paradigm. Acceptance and embracing is so much easier than resistance and hate. To try to put that wow moment into perspective, it was a little bit like watching the Grinch's heart grow in the movie when he stole Christmas at the end. And while it was listening, all the Who's in Whoville sing merrily, even though their day would have theoretically been ruined. So in that genre of Grinches, I will conclude by saying, I made peace with the folks whom I had once scorned, realizing the errors which my mind had once formed. No longer a Grinch, but a friend to them all, old Mr. Rich found joy in love's call.
I'm sorry I don't have poetry for you today. That was lovely. I have to say my homily is a little bit more serious, and it comes with a warning. So I'm going to be relaying an incident of domestic violence. If this is a trigger for you, then I'm going to take a few minutes here and let you feel free to step out, because I certainly don't want to trigger anybody in the process of talking about transformation. The transformation that I want to talk about today, and I've never really talked about it in this way with anybody before, but the transformation I want to talk about today began with a murder. The victim was somebody that I knew only in passing, a fellow swim mom that I chatted with as we watched our daughters practice for their meets. I liked Joan Dupree. She was a few years older than me, and she liked to give sisterly parenting advice, such as telling me that fathers need to remember to hug their daughters as much after puberty as before, so that their daughters would not be confused by the withdrawal of affection at that time. I met her husband a few times in the swim stands as we watched the practice, and there seemed like an affectionate and comfortable marriage and family. And I think that's why the news hit me so hard. I learned about her death in the morning newspaper. The article reported that Craig had lost his job several months before, but he never told Joan. The morning his daughter was to leave on an extended school trip, he did not have the money required for the trip. And in the argument that followed, he lost his control and he stabbed Joan, killing her. He also attacked his daughter. The news sent me into a paralysis. How could this seemingly happy family come to such an end? This upbeat, friendly mom was in the middle of her regular routine. She had plans and dreams for herself and her family. And the daughter, waking early in the morning and excited to go on her school trip. Instead, she sees her father out of control, violently killing her mother and attempting to kill her as well. What pain and heartbreak she must have to endure in order to mourn, heal, go on with her life. For many days afterward, I thought about how the lives of Joan and her family, Joan, her husband, the 4 children, how they were transformed in an instant and forever in a horrible way. As the shock wore off, though, the questions in my mind shifted to my own life. My husband and I had some struggles, not that there was ever even a hint of violence between us, but I began thinking about what the goals and dreams were that I had unfinished. What was it that I wanted to accomplish and live by in my life? I increasingly began to feel as if I was waking up from sleepwalking through my day-to-day routines with work, husband, community. My husband and I were in marriage counseling before Joan's demise, but within 6 months of that, we were separated in the process of a friendly divorce. Since many of our friends were also church members, we held a divorce ceremony that asked congregants to respect that our lives were going in different directions and to be kind to both us and our children and to remain friends with us all. Several months later, someone from church who I did not know at the time came up to me and told me that when they saw me in church earlier before the divorce, they thought that the light had gone out of my eyes, but that after the ceremony, they saw that light returning. It has now been 25 years since Joan's death, and I honor that today. Looking back, I think that my friend was right that the light had gone out of my eyes and that I was reawakened by this otherwise unspeakable occurrence. And as a result, I've lived a life that is more complete and authentic as a result of these events. So transformations, I think transformations are interwoven almost inextricably with sorrows and pain and joys and wisdom. And the effects can be far-ranging over years, over distances, over families, and over communities. I do not know what has happened with the members of Joan's family, but I can only pray that they have attained some healing and peace as well over these years. Thank you.
The operation and outreach of our church needs your input and your contributions. This is a perfect time to think of what you can give back. In a moment, the greeters will pass among you with the offering baskets. Please give generously. But before they do, I should remind you that we support organizations identified by the Social Justice Committee with our Change for Change program. Our recipient for our Change for Change this month is Casa de Peregrinos. You can give to them by putting your change in the basket or by writing Change for Change on the note line of your check. Please give generously.
You've just heard our closing hymn. You get to sing in Italian and Arabic today. I wanted to give you a little bit of context for this. First of all, today begins the month of Ramadan, and so we honor that. And of course, our thoughts and prayers for real are with the many people who are suffering in the Middle East. I wanted to tell you how this song was created. The song is the inspiration of a Muslim residing in the United States, Samir Badri. Samir recruited the composer Ted Warmbrandt, a Jew, to set his words to a tune. After they both were featured at a peace rally in Arizona before the U.S. bombing of Afghanistan and then Iraq. This was following 9/11. And we hope for the transformation of peace and love. I invite you to rise and embody your spirit as we sing this together.
Today's closing words are by Emily Richards. May you leave this time together changed. May the promises you have made to yourself about who you want to be feel closer to the reality of who you are right now. May you share that feeling of transformation wherever you go. May it spread into every word, every deed, thought, and interaction until we are all changed, transformed and transforming together, becoming our better selves. Thank you.
Please join me in saying the words to extinguish the flame. The words are on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the